Happy, happy.
Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. It's time for another
Mindset Monday!
That was definitely different, right?
That was different. I'm not going to say it was better.
Oh. Okay.
So, we're going to answer a question for today's Mindset Monday. That question that we get asked a few times.
Yes. Why are we always so happy?
And the answer to that question is very, very simple. Because we want to be.
Yeah.
We want to be happy. All the time.
There'll be things that hit you in life, left, right, and centre, and it happens to us as well. You know, some bad things, some very bad things, some bloody awful things as well.
Yeah.
But you've probably seen it written some places, how you react to certain situations that affects your happiness. The situation's happened, whatever it is, you know, and it's how you respond to that, and it's how you put things in perspective. And I would like to think that we're quite skilled now at putting things in perspective.
It is, and you'll often find how my arm's getting sore. You'll often find that as you become more mindful of these situations, as you recognize when you're getting upset, because everybody gets upset, and it's okay to get upset. It's okay to be unhappy, but you've got to recognize when you are. You've got to recognize when you are upset, and as you become more mindful, you'll find that the amount of time it takes you to be happy again will get shorter and shorter and shorter as you become more mindful.
It always reminds me, like that story you told me about when you came back from the army.
Yes, so this story goes that I keep looking at that bloody screen again. I stop looking at the bloody screen. Look at
It's amateur time.
I know, it's bad, isn't it? So hang on, let's go and sit on this fence.
Let's sit on the fence again. Or lean on the fence.
Lean on the fence. Therefore, you can.
Somebody will call out that it's actually a game. That's what keep doing
it. As a game. Right. So hang on, I'm going to take this off as well. Let's get comfortable here. Yeah. So the story goes. Okay, so you may or may not know that I was in the forces. When I came back, I mean, we went over to Canada, which was amazing, and we went to Iraq. Now, Iraq was its own little story altogether, and it's not about that. It's actually when we got out, I got a job as a truck driver. Now, I was working for an agency, and this agency guy said, look, how well do you know Edinburgh? And I know Edinburgh to walk around, but to drive around is a completely different story because there's all this one-way system and whatnot. So I said, not really. And he says, but you've been in the forces, you could read a map. I says, yeah, I can. So anyway, he sent me off on this job. And the job was actually collecting cardboard and other recycled materials and delivering it to a depot. So I said, right, okay. So anyway, I had like 10 stops to do, maybe slightly more than that. And I was something like 5 or 6 hours in, and I had done two stops because I had no idea where I was going. I kept missing turnings, going around this one-way system, and I remember getting stuck in traffic in this huge truck that I was slightly uncomfortable driving in the first place. And I was stressed. I was mega stressed. I was sweating. I was anxious. I was a little bit angry. And then it dawned on me, what am I getting anxious about? What am I getting stressed about? Is it really worth worrying about? I mean, ultimately it was just a little bit of stress, and by the time I got home that night I would have been happy again. However, I didn't really want to be stressed in that moment. So I decided not to be. I thought, I've experienced a lot worse than this. You know, being in Iraq, being in some pretty horrible places in the world, and not for me personally. My personal situation was actually fairly okay. It was what I experienced. The kids in Iraq, the families in Iraq experiencing these horrible conditions. And there was me getting stressed about driving around Edinburgh in a nice comfy truck with air conditioning and some music playing. Come on. So this is all about, my arm's getting sore.
Tag me in, buddy, tag me in.
This is all about re-aiming your focus, getting a different perspective, and stop whining about things that are not worth whining about.
One of the easiest ways to do it is whenever something like this, something happens to you that upsets you, start thinking about, well, what is important to you and what is good in your life that is there to stay. Certainly for now, nothing lasts forever, right? But think about the good things that you've got rather than whining about what you've not got or what you've just lost. And don't get me wrong, grieving is a different kettle of fish altogether. People lose family members, etc. I've lost people close to me, and that's a different process altogether. And we wouldn't exactly say, just realign your focus and get on with it. It's not exactly. However, you can because you can say, well, in some ways that's life. You've got to start getting, even if it's just small steps, one day at a time.
But once again, as you become more mindful, the time of, say, let's call it an incident, okay? Say you've lost a loved one, or your partner's left you, or you've just had some bad news from the doctor, or whatever it might be. The time from the incident, that's when the process starts. You become unhappy, you get a little bit anxious, maybe you get a little bit stressed. But you have to realign your thoughts with what's actually going on. And think about all the good things in your life, because everybody has them. The world is like a yin-yang, okay? For every push there's a pull. For every up there's a down. For every happy there is a sad. So are you looking at the yin, or are you looking at the yang?
So realign your perspective and be like us, be happy all the time.
Yeah,
or certainly nearly all the time.
Nearly all the time. I mean, like, we're not trying to be we're happy people. We do have things in our life that upset us now and again, but if you let it eat at you, and if you dwell on it, you become an unhappy, miserable fucker.
Yeah. So
and we've all got people in our life like that.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is like, if you got an injury, I remember I got an injury once. I went to a sports therapist, and he said to me, he says, Rab, you only rest for basically a couple of days, let swelling go down. Everything after that is rehabilitation. So you've got to do that with any sort of hurt, anger, grief, whatever. Rest up, sleep on it for a night. Then everything you do, even if it's small steps, should be rehabilitating that pain.
Yeah.
In some shape or form. Like I say, the bigger one's a lost family member. That'll take longer. But every step, you can't keep dwelling on day one. Otherwise you'll never move on to that. We know someone that's like that. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yep.
And years later, they're still going on about the person that they lost, and it gets to the point where you think, well, you've got to start moving on from these things eventually.
Oh yeah, you certainly do. I always say that strength comes from stress. Okay, so and I mean physical stress, mental strength, and emotional strength. Take that off you, buddy. So, I mean, we've got a background in fitness, so we often go to the gym, we stress ourselves in the gym, okay, we push ourselves pretty bloody hard, but that stress, when recovered from, makes you stronger, and therefore that's why we do it. Okay, the stress itself actually makes you weaker at the time, and you're a bit of a broken man, but then you go away, you eat some good food, you sleep, you recover, you come back stronger. It's the same for mental and emotional strength. It's only when you are stressed, you go away, you recover from it, and you come back mentally or emotionally stronger. But you have to go through that recovery period. If you keep dwelling on it, you just become this broken person. So think about your own situation, anything that's bothering you right now.
And are you rehabilitating from it? Are you making changes every day? Put everything in perspective. Have a look at what's good in your life rather than focusing on the bad. And then file it away and just move on from it.
There's always a good side to every situation, or just another good situation that you're not looking at.
So realign your perspective.
And be happy, happy.
Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Ha 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 ha!